think we have to have a more active Federal Reserve in the present circumstances. It certainly is breaking all past precedents. And I don't think thus far it's been terribly effective. The best we can say is that it's prevented the situation from getting even worse. But it's very hard in this sort of situation to induce financial institutions to be responsive. I think we have now run the course of major monetary policy actions. The Federal Reserve in the future can be supportive of fiscal policy, but I think the current situation calls out for large fiscal policy, direct impacts on the real sector of the economy. The role of the Federal Reserve is to make sure that all those activities get fully financed. People used to argue about fiscal stimulus in A, B, and trying to choose between them. The current situation has gotten so serious, I think we'll see the federal government do a little bit of everything. There's no need to choose anymore. We used to argue that we wanted it to be quick and temporary. Now, temporary is far less important. This recession is going to go on for several more years. So yes, we want to be quick. We have to get doing more because as we sit here debating what to do, hundreds of thousands of people are losing their jobs every month. So we got to move more quickly. But I think the Federal Reserve, the federal government, can now afford to do things in cutting taxes, but they can also do a lot of expenditures. I favor taxes simply because they can operate more quickly. For example, like an employment tax reduction would take effect very fast and get money into the hands of people who would spend it. But as time goes on, say as we get into the latter part of 2009 and into 2010, I would expect more and more of the burden to be taken over by expenditure policies. Infrastructure's an obvious area that the United States has been underinvesting in its infrastructure for many years. Might as well take advantage of this opportunity to repair what has become sort of a crumbling infrastructure. I think clearly the problem of inflation has just disappeared overnight. At the same time, I don't think people should be focusing on the idea of deflation either. I think all we're seeing is an unwinding of the commodity price increases of the last couple of years. We shouldn't be focusing on prices. It's not really telling us anything right now. What we need to focus on is creating jobs for people. And that means we just emphasize again the rate of growth of GDP and our ability to get an increase in employment. So I think the Federal Reserve is very clear about that. I hope that the new administration will be very clear about that. The problem is just to generate economic activity. Don't worry about inflation. Don't worry about deflation. Neither one of them is of particular relevance to the current situation.